Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for the Elimination Chamber. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on the Elimination Chamber, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, yeah, the final stop before we on full throttle into the road to WrestleMania. I feel like I could have punctuated that a little bit better. And, you know, last year's Elimination Chamber show, 2025's, was arguably the best WWE show of the whole entire year. I think it's that and Evolution that I think we can all agree on. Yeah, no, those were two of the best shows because of the great moments that those shows had. But the downfall of what happened with Elimination Chamber 2025 is that we had this big moment of the John Cena heel turn. And overall, when it comes out for pass, is that there wasn't really truly a follow-up plan. They just thought, hey, what would be a cool moment to do that would shock the audience? Hey, let's turn John Cena and let's bring The Rock in, even though, again, there was no follow-up for The Rock to continue to be on, and they were going to play it week by week with the John Cena heel turn. So what does WWE do a year later? They learned, and they figured, okay, let's just remain the course of what we were doing for this WrestleMania, even though in some areas you can tell there isn't a full concrete plan. I mean, God, that WWE title scene is going to be really interesting to see how they maneuver that all the way through. But they weren't reliant on the really big shock factor this year. And with that, hey, that's a positive note. And I think us fans now need to recondition ourselves that not every show is going to have a really big moment. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because in a lot of ways, WWE has set those expectations. Hey, come Rumble, come Chamber, you're going to expect these really big moments and these big reveals. We did kind of have that here on this show with Seth Rollins being it, but, you know, that was the obvious choice. I feel like the biggest sword was maybe Randy Orton in the Elimination Chamber. I think we all thought Cody was going to win. I knew Drew was going to get involved just because he got involved in the qualifier. He's been getting involved everywhere. And yeah, it was clear that he was going to get involved, but I thought this would be the time where Cody finally gets the one-up on him, and he still did do it. What I really liked about the men's Elimination Chamber, a lot of people brought up, hey, what goes, Randy Orton learned from their King of the Ring match where, you know, he hesitated to do the kill shot. This one, he did not hesitate whatsoever. Boom, hit the RKO, 1, 2, 3. I also kind of read it as a what goes around comes around, because he told off Sammy, like, you need to learn to go for that kill shot, right? And, Sammy helped Cody beat up Drew, and then Cody hit the Crossroads. Same thing happened here. Randy did help, but he broke free. He told Cody, yeah, do the Crossroads. Crossroads, RKO, 1, 2, 3. So I'm interested to see. Now on Friday, we are doing Drew versus Cody, as that was on the post show, and that got announced for the title. I am curious to see on Friday if Cody feels some type of way about Randy hitting him with the RKO completely unprovoked, and then Sam's going to be like, oh, so now you have a problem with it, just to keep adding those layers. And also, again, it's the mentor and the mentee. Who do you think taught Cody Rhodes that, no, you got to take advantage of your surroundings, regardless if they're your friend or they aren't? It was Randy Orton, because they were in Legacy. So a lot of intrigue within that finish. I think it was the smart finish to do. Now, if I have it my way, I do think you leave it Cody versus Randy. I would have Cody go over this Friday. Jacob gets involved and costs Drew McIntyre the title. How does he not get a rematch? I think, if anything, we are leading to a fatal four-way overall, which would be fine. As long as it ends with Jacob winning the title, I will be okay with it. Cody winning the title again doesn't really fully excite me. I mean, I love Cody, but it doesn't really intrigue me that much, just because we have done it for so long at this point. Like I said, man, we gotta be flip-flopping these titles a little bit just to make it feel fresh every once in a while. I love my long reigns, but, you know, we've gone from the reign of Roman to a year of Cody to 6 months with John Cena to 4 months with Cody. Now we're at 2 months with Drew. And, you know, there was some freshness, but Cody is still involved, right? So if we do the Fatal 4-Way, give the Jacob, then Jacob and Drew can have their one-on-one at Backlash, and then Orton and Cody can continue on down the way, because I don't think Orton versus Cody necessarily needs the title. But yeah, very interesting to see what we did there. I think the women's chamber too was also played safe. And I would say overall, that's kind of how the show played out. It was very safe all the way through. Rhea Ripley was the right choice to do. Once Charlotte wasn't going to be in it. But again, I think we're going to do Charlotte versus Alexa. It looks like we may be doing Tiffany versus Chelsea Green if she is going to be good to go at WrestleMania, because there's no way they don't have Tiffany on the card unless Tiffany requested it off, since she is going to do that bodybuilding competition, which good for her. But, you know, Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. I said this in my video for my predictions for WrestleMania. If I had it my way, that's the match I would book, because the storyline is just there, right? And I even saw Rhea Ripley post it of, you know, Jade Cargill goes around saying, I am that bitch. I am that bitch because I am the title and I am the champion. And, you know, she is that brute force, that powerhouse, so on and so forth, what have you. Then you got Rhea Ripley, who is arguably the face of the women's division, who gets the loudest reactions for the women, right? I mean, the Chicago crowd was a little bit of hit or miss here and there throughout. I would say overall, it was quiet for a Chicago crowd, right? But when Rhea Ripley's music hit, and then when her was coming out for the pod, the crowd went absolutely nuts. So yes, Jade Cargill, you may say I'm that bitch, but Rhea Ripley is the bitch. So if we can lean into that, we give these girls some promo time. I honestly think, you know, the men are going to be a fatal four-way, and sure, that is likely to main event night one, but you give these girls time on the microphone. It doesn't need to be a long main event, but that match could close out night one as well. So we're going to have some competition on Friday night for the next 7 weeks. Yeah, 7 weeks until WrestleMania to see who is going to close out night one. I know Stephanie and Liv have an outside chance as well. But the star power between Jade and Rhea, and again, a fatal four-way with those big names on there, could be interesting. I could see Sammy get himself inserted, but I do think we're going to do Trick versus Sammy at WrestleMania. I think that is pretty much a lock at this point. And maybe we do a double turn in that match. But yeah, the women's chamber match was pretty good. I like the booking of Raquel. She always looked very strong. Kiana got an elimination. She pinned Alexa Bliss, which was interesting. So I assume we probably do that match on Friday. And maybe that's when Alexa properly turns on Charlotte. If I'm going to do Alexa versus Charlotte, I think Alexa should be the one to turn heel. It's been a long time since she's been heel. I really like everything we're doing with Charlotte right now. I mean, the pint bit on SmackDown was really, really good. The whole, I'm fine. To me, it tickles me very, very well. And therefore, she should stick to a babyface role, because I think she's having the time of her life in this role. But yeah, I really like what we did with Kiana. Would have liked a little bit of a stronger showing. Maybe she could have got another pin in there. But you know, what do we do with Raquel? Because I think Raquel got 3 of the eliminations, because Kiana got 1. Raquel had that double, the stack 'em pin, which was really good. And then then after that, Tiffany and Rhea had to team up in order to get Raquel out, which I really liked. Tiffany versus Rhea as the final 2, I feel like was pretty obvious. And I was just like, I love Tiffany. She's my favorite girl, or my second favorite girl. Io has kind of taken over that number 1 spot for me. But I did not want to see Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton again. I don't know if you insert her in. I know she's been talking about wanting to have some heel tendencies within her character. So I honestly wouldn't mind if that was the case, that she does force herself into that and making it a triple threat match, just because she is going to go that heelish route. Could be fun. It could be fun for sure. And, you know, it could be good comeuppance for Rhea Ripley in a lot of ways too, because she inserted herself in the world title picture after Bianca Belair, who won the Elimination Chamber at WrestleMania last year. So, you know, again, that what goes around comes around type of storyline. If Tiffany's to insert herself in some way, somehow, I think that's also an interesting tidbit, but I think it's going to stay Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley, and I think it should for the most part. As for the matches that weren't in the chamber, Finn versus Balor. Finn versus Punk was fun. Arguably the match of the night. None of these matches I think are really rewatchable in a lot of ways. I think this was a good like one and done show, which again, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, as long as your final destination has those moments, you know. But that match, it was a lead up until the final maybe 5 to 10 minutes for me, just because there was no true buy-in that Finn Balor was going to win. And I think that was also part, because I was surprised that the crowd was kind of quiet for CM Punk of all people. I mean, he had the Chicago Bulls entrance and then Cult of Personality. Like, yeah, he had a big noise, but once the match started, it just felt like, well, we know Punk's going to win, so let's just save our energy until the Chamber comes out, right? And then as soon as you get to those, I think when he hit that first coup de grace, or maybe, I think it was when he hit the coup de grace, but then it got turned into a sharpshooter, is when the match went into another level for me. And I think that's when people were starting to buy in, okay, maybe Finn could do it, but still not fully committed to it. Punk wins, and now we keep it Punk versus Roman. Can't wait for Monday night. Monday night might be pretty stacked. You got Seth Rollins' return. I don't know if we do Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins again. That doesn't fully excite me. I know a lot of people have a problem with Logan Paul getting the 3 eliminations at first. Clearly, that was supposed to be Braun Breaker, and then it was clearly supposed to be Bronson Reed. They just gave Logan Paul's booking to them, which did it work in hindsight? Probably not. I did like how, you know, he was stealing the pins as opposed to being completely dominant in it. But, you know, if you were going to keep that same booking style, I don't know why Jacob Fatu couldn't come in, but also you needed the Masked Man reveal. So I guess Logan Paul was the next step. Maybe we should have gave it to Austin Theory, just because that character needs something to do. But maybe Braun Breaker can be cleared in time to do Breaker versus Seth. But we will see on that note. But yeah, you got Seth coming back. Roman's gonna be in the house. Danhausen, maybe he'll be on the show. I know a lot of people weren't a fan of his, especially at my watch party. I live in Texas, so it's okay that I'm allowed to have watch parties. Yeah, but all the people that were there, because I watch with a bunch of casuals, right? They usually watch WWE or nothing. So when they box open, it was a crate, and then Danhausen comes out. They're like, who the fuck is Danhausen? And like, as he's walking, he has all the women. I was like, well, you know, he's very nice, but yet very evil. He's a bit of a deep cut. You know, he's kind of like a comedy character. He's cool. You know, if he points at you, you're cursed. He's a lot of fun. And, you know, they just didn't get it. And, you know, the whole ending bit with the bad pyro, again, I loved it. But my party was not a huge fan of it. Then he disappeared, and they were just like, well, that just felt like a waste of time. I guess they need to kill time or something. So we will see how Danhausen is going to be booked moving forward. I do think it is going to be a marathon, not a sprint, but I do think as soon as he hits his stride, he's going to be fine. I think that character is tailor-made for WWE. You just need to have that comedy attribute for it. I probably would have put him on NXT first, just so, you know, to introduce him to the WWE audience, and people could be like, okay, I guess I can understand this is something new, you know, it's in developmental. And then you could call him up that way to send him straight to the main roster. I mean, he's in deep waters right now. So, again, we will see. I liked it overall, but I can understand why a bunch of people didn't. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I was surprised that AJ Lee won. I thought she would win it properly at WrestleMania. But nope, she won it here. I like the whole storyline with the open turnbuckle, and I also like the ongoing storyline with Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch. I thought they played it off very well. Sure, you know, a lot of people were complaining about AJ Lee's performance. I didn't really see a problem with it. I think she did fine for her first match in, what was it, over 10 years? Maybe longer than that. So, honestly, I didn't see a problem with her performance. The match was fine, but again, it was kind of one of those other matches as well where it wasn't until we were building up to the finish. It was when Becky Lynch DDT'd her on the chair, and then Jessica Carr came back to 1-2, and then AJ Lee kicked out, is when I kind of went from this to this and completely selling back into the match, because that's when I was like, well, there was AJ Lee's get out of free card. Are they going to actually turn the title? And sure enough, they did. That was a pretty good moment. Again, overall, Elimination Chamber was a fine show. What was it? Knock your socks off like it was last year? No, but I think WWE learned like not every show needs to knock your socks off. What's the final destination? Is WrestleMania. Clearly, WWE is still figuring out the card in a lot of places. Because you could just tell in some of the areas of the show, and even on Raw and SmackDown too, that they're just like, okay, well, let's see what gets a reaction. Okay, that could be the WrestleMania match too. And then moving forward, but I do think they have somewhat of a plan now after tonight, and now it's all about executing that for the next 7 weeks and building up to it, and not just relying on the moment just to get that mainstream attention. Okay, let's just build up our show and let's put on the best WrestleMania we can get with the players that we have because of everything that's going along business-wise. And now it's just all about execution. So yeah, let me know what y'all thought about the show. Again, I thought it was okay. Nothing really to run home about. Not really a lot of rewatchability, but again, overall a fine show for what it was. My party really did seem to enjoy it for the most part. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on it. Leave a like if you made this far within a review. I did greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you. Also, squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.